Hello and thank you for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, Judiciary battles credibility crisis as Justice Ariwola takes over as CJN. General Irabor reacts to directive by Zamfara State Governor to citizens to take arms. Says Commissioner of Police can't issue gun licenses as Southern governors back call on citizens to arm themselves against insecurity. And later on the show, forensic psychologists described Ekwerimadu's organ donor as a serial liar as family sues National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, over saga. I'll be hanging out with Adewale Adeoye and Olabisi Deji Folutile. So if you're ready, let your hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us, Bisi. It's been a while. And Wale Adeoye.
Yeah, nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
All right. One key takeaway from the protest letter by 14 justices of the Supreme Court panel against the immediate past Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Tanko Mohammed, is the need for sanity in the judiciary. The resignation of Justice Mohammed on health grounds on Monday has not beclouded that call for probe. Following the swearing in of Justice Kayode Ariwola as the acting CJN by President Muhammadu Buhari, he has been tasked to restore the diminished credibility of the apex courts. Many groups want him to start with the probe allegation leveled against the Israel CJN. We thought they would just allow the sleeping dog to lie, and this man, he has done something that a lot of Nigerians describe as something that is unusual, as in just resigning and going home instead of him diminishing that seat.
Really? Unusual? Well,
for a Nigerian, a public office holder, don't resign till they take the fall.
Yeah, yeah. Provided there was no scandal before that resignation. Remember that the 14 justices of the Supreme Court, wrote a petition against the ex-CJN alleging certain discrepancies in the way their offices were being run. And they also alleged that issues of welfare was a concern to them. They stated that there was no power to power their generators and all of that. No money, no call. They couldn't go on calls. They were using Tokumbo vehicles and all of that. So with those levels of allegations against the CJN, they somehow took away from what could have been described as a noble decision. Had it been there were no such allegations, we could have commended the CJN, we could have said, oh, this is very great, this is good, because, it's not something we witness most of the time in our own climb here. But now, we don't even know if the CJN was forced to resign, as being speculated in some quarters now. So we can't really say it was a noble decision, but all the same, let's commend him for coming out to say that he had health issues and would not be able to perform his duties. But also that does not take away anything from the cause on that office to be probed based on the allegations that have been leveled against the office of the CJN. I think when we do that, we can actually now, the ex-CJN can come out clean. Because if you probe him, and at the end of the day, there were no cases of corruption or any form of misdemeanor established against him, he can then raise his head up and say that, well, he has served Nigeria well, even though President Muhammadu Buhari has told us that he has done his best and that posterity will judge him well.
He was even given the national honor and President Buhari commended him. So as far as we know officially, we might not be able to say that it was as a result of that scandal.
Yeah.
He took his exit. It was commended by Mr. President and everything.
Well, Mr. President, based on the information available to him, is permitted to pass judgment on his assessment of the CGN. In the same way, Nigerians are entitled to also pass their own judgment based on their experiences. I think we should not forget that in 2019, we had a similar case against the former CGN.
Water.
And then this is his immediate predecessor. We are having almost similar situation, if not worse. Allegation of misconduct, of written by his own people. 14 out of the Supreme Court judges.
Yes, there were actually 15.
Yes.
So 14 out of, excluding him,
He's the only one excluded.
So the normal constitution of the Supreme Court is 21. So they are short of 6 judges.
Majority. So it's more or less like the majority of the judges passing a vote of no confidence on the person that is supposed to be the most important person in that chamber. So I think for me, it's not just about probing him as a person, but the judiciary, that office. And when we are talking about probe, it's not about vendetta. It's about accountability. It's about financial, moral accountability. It's about the judiciary itself, total overhaul. Because for those judges to come up with this kind of report is scandalous. I think we should not just fold our arms, and maybe there are other judges that are also capable, or people that are not judges, that are senators who are also involved. So Nigerians need to know what actually happened. There should be a process of accountability, to the Nigerian people, because the judiciary, the Supreme Court, is the highest organ of jurisprudence. So it will be very bad for Nigerians if we begin to view them from the lens that we view corrupt politicians, the lens we used to view armed robbers on the streets. It will make people to lose confidence in the judiciary. It will empower people to embark on, young justice, because you think that judiciary is no longer, credible. So I think at this point, there should be some level of accountability to Nigerian people. And I think it will also be in the interest of the former CGN, so that maybe at the end of the day, it will come clean. So there should be a level of accountability, that, we need to know what is actually happening. We should not sweep it under the carpet.
Well, what Wale have suggested now, that means there's something fundamentally wrong with that position. If his predecessor, Walter Onnoghen, was accused of almost the same, and his successor, that means that position, the perception of the public about that seat now is, the new man might be under scrutiny too after some time.
Well, I don't even know if it is going to be after some time. Already is under scrutiny. In that we have heard that he was born in 1958
and he started primary
school in 1959
at the age of 1.
At the age of 1. So that is the beginning of the scrutiny. So you can now imagine. We don't know what we will still hear about the new person. But about the position, there is nothing wrong about that position. It is the way the people that occupy the position use the position that we should be talking about. There is nothing wrong in that, in the position. But how do we use the position? Then, if we are talking about something being wrong, does the CJN have absolute power? So if there is a case of absolute power, we can say something is wrong with the position. But I doubt if there is that, because if there was, the other justices couldn't have been able to even call for a meeting or do a petition and all of that, which brought about some of their complaints. So it is the individual that occupies that position that is being scrutinized. And the more we scrutinize them, really, the more the people that occupy that position, we know that they are in public eye, and we tend to be more careful about the way they exercise their duties, because we cannot afford to just leave them alone. Like Wale said, it's an important arm of government. If the judiciary is compromised, then everybody is compromised, because that means that we don't have a rule of law. Even right now, we have problems with the level of the way we even implement the rule of law. We have it, but we are not just doing what is right. So to now have a corrupt judicial system will compound our problems. So that is, I guess, the reason why it appears, people are just talking about this thing, and they are not allowing the former CJN to just go home and rest and take care of his health, as he has explained to us that he's not feeling too good. And
on the other hand, President Buhari actually commended him, talking about his effort to sanitize the judiciary. He spoke specifically about that, the fact that he waded into that situation to stem the tide of this arbitrary court orders that we're getting in concurrent court of coordinate jurisdictions, and that he was able to do something about it. And what will you remember Justice Mahmood for?
Well, I think in 2019, I think one should not forget the role some of them played in terms of trying to ensure some level of justice. When Walter Onage was being probed by the Code of Conduct Bureau, I think a lot of people commended him at that time, the position he took. And that's why a lot of people are saying that, look, it's now your turn. That, but we should also not forget that he has put in a lot of years into the service. He has PhD in law. He graduated, I think, in 1980. So in one way or the other, there are no strengths without weaknesses. So maybe the president was speaking about his strength. So there's no way we can just rubbish him for almost 35 years that he has spent in the judiciary. But maybe it is not strategic for the president to speak about the other side. But of course, that has to be left for Nigerians to look at both sides, during his years of service to the nation. I
have my first caller. Uche is calling us from Nnewi in Anambra State. Thank you for joining us, Uche.
Good evening, Ayo.
Good evening, Uche.
Good evening, madam. And my other brother.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir. This is Uche. I'm calling from Nnewi right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Just like you asked, what can you remember the former CGM for the Tanko? I think I will remember him for the controversial judgment.
You wanted to say, I remember him for the controversial judgment of Imo State. A lot of people didn't forget that. But it was a 7-man panel, and they agreed unanimously. It wasn't Justice Mahmood alone that actually gave that verdict. For those of you that you've been peddling that line since yesterday, it wasn't justice. It was an unanimous judgment by the Supreme Court justices. There were 7 of them that sat, and I will check if anybody had a divergent point of view. But it wasn't just about Justice Mahmood. And there's no how he could have rammed his own impression on the other judges. They are independent people. Yeah. That's why you have some of them will give dissenting judgments. Well, Nigerians.
I guess you just want to remember something good about somebody. And I think he has a lot of things also that probably worked for him too, at least. For the first time, we have somebody that's saying, I'm resigning based on health grants. I think that is also a positive.
And if you remember the issue of ex parte orders, it was becoming...
Yes, becoming, and he actually he waded in.
The Electoral Act.
Yes, he suspended. Some judges were suspended.
Yes, he did that. He did that. So really, he did his own bit. He did his own bit, and he should be commended. for the position, for the GCON that was awarded to him, it is customary. Yes, for any retired CJN to get that award.
So Nigerians hear that again.
That is the way it is done.
Because
So
a
it's
lot
not
of
as
people,
if,
they're arguing that our president, President
it's not as if
Buhari,
the
is
president
compensating.
just rewarded or compensated.
He has served the country for almost 35 years.
Yes.
So.
For everyone in that position, that is usually the case.
So, as a take home. Okay, let's talk about that bag. It became another issue in the social media.
The bag that is...
The bag. Justice Mahmoud had that bag, and Justice Ariwola had that bag.
Yes, I think he also
It's customary.
Yes, he also brought that bag into our system.
No, I was told that it's whatever you believe in, the Bible or the Quran is inside the bag.
Yes,
that's what you have inside that bag.
That's what he said.
Because a lot of Nigerians are curious to know why are they always carrying this bag.
I also learned that the current CJN is also Tajuddin.
Yes.
And that his Quran was actually inside the bag.
Look at it.
His Quran was in the bag.
Yes.
And that maybe Christians prefer to hold on to their own Bibles. Hence, their reason for not carrying bags. They prefer to just put their hands on the Bible and then swear, take their oath. Whereas for Muslims, they know that putting the Quran in that bag is as good as holding onto it and swearing by the Quran. So that is the essence of that bag, because it has really become an issue.
That's part of our responsibility here, to actually enlighten the public and
they are talking
to
about
clear
it and all of that. It's not a strange thing at all.
It's just
it's just a function of one's belief, what they believe in, and how they hold the Quran.
Okay, and when we look at the new CJN, Justice Mahmoud was meant to go December 2023. He had 18 months.
It'll be 70 years then.
I don't know. I'm sure by tomorrow we will resolve this controversy about his age. Because some people are saying that he has 2 more years to go. That if he's 68.
The current...
yes, if he's 68.
He was born in 1958.
Okay, if he's 68, we have 2 more years to 70. If he's not, that's more years to spend.
Well, I think I think it should be a straightforward thing. I think he started practicing around 1981 in Oyo State. So tracing his record shouldn't be a difficult thing. And I'm sure as at that time, he never knew he would be the CJ of Nigeria. And he's serving in Enugu, Kaduna, and so I think it will be very easy. So he attended the University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University.
Great Ife.
Yeah. So knowing his age, I don't think that should be a problem. So if he said he was born in 1958, that means that, he has just about 2-3 years to live. But I think we should hold him by his word until there is something contrary to what he has said.
Right. In terms of reforms, a lot of people will say that, look, that we need kind of reform in the judiciary. That even the structure of the Supreme Court, the way it is, a lot of people feel that they are overworked. 21 judges, that they have several cases to attend to, and they're always very busy. If they downtown, there's going to be a problem in the country.
We also spoke about the need for even transparency in the system, which to a large extent, we also reduce all these complaints about how funds are being spent and all of that. As per the number of people, I think it's not a question of reform now, because even the number that are supposed to be there are not even enough. We have 16, 15 instead of 21. So even if we have provision for 21 and we have 15, that means it is 6 short of what should be there now, which is even affecting a lot of cases. We have a lot of backlog of cases here and there. So why is that the situation? Is it a question of promoting people? Are we not promoting, or is it that we don't have competent people that can occupy the positions? You get, because
Yes, I
this
think
is something that
sometimes
is
they promote
already.
people from the Court of Appeal.
So what stops that promotion? Why are we where we are when this is already a provision?
Okay,
Because
let's take this call from Warri. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, Abeke, thank you for joining us.
I just want to, this age, date of birth for this new CGN. I don't really know. Is it for real, if I may ask? Somebody born 1958 and started school 1959. I don't know. Is it for real?
I can hardly hear you.
he was talking about the age of the current acting CJN. How could he be born in 1958 and start school in 1959? Is that for real?
I'm sure we are going to get clarification on that. You know, I don't want, Nigerians, we just love making these things. We are yet to hear from Kayode Ariwala himself. I'm sure somebody will talk on his behalf. They have people that will address that. So the question has been raised, and I'm sure that days ahead we get clarity, because it doesn't make logical sense for somebody to be born in 1958.
It could be typographical error.
Primary school in 1959, 12-month-old boy.
It could be 1969 that they wanted to put. And it
Even 69, if you are born in 58 and you went to school, the primary school, 10
3 years.
after,
3 years after.
10 years
start
after.
school.
that one is another problem. Anyways, it's cup of tea. You should be able to sort that out. But maybe probably the lesson from all of this is that we should just be more careful the way we put our records in public space, because we never can tell when things will happen.
It's also, talking about these reforms, we have some countries practicing federalism that we claim to be practicing now. And each of those states, they have their own Supreme Courts. I remember Festus Keyamo saying that at his own screening, that the Supreme Court is over-labored, overburdened, that the first thing, if he's made the Attorney General, they will unbundle the Supreme Court. I know in America that's, we have, each state, they have their own.
That is where we should go at the end of the day. And that's when people are talking about instruction. It's not just about the political economy. It's also about the judiciary. We need to, we once had a similar thing when we had 3 regions, Western region, Eastern region. So it's not as if it's strange to our political history. I believe at the end of the day, Nigeria will get there. We need judges. We have had very good judges in the past. People like Justice Elias, Kayode Esho, Nnamani Oputa. Philosophers, conscientious people, men of integrity. Those are the kind of people we want at the Supreme Court. And I think that's why we are so worried about what is going on now. Because that should be the highest custodian of our most sacred values and morals. What is going on is not good at all.
All right. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still Journalist Hangouts. We'll be right back after this breather. Stay with us, please. Thank you for staying with us. It appears that Governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawalle, stirred a hornet's nest when he called on citizens to take up arms and defend themselves against insecurity. More reactions are trailing. His comment, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabor, lent his voice to the criticisms and faulted the call. Speaking at a function in Abuja, General Irabor said the governor has no constitutional authority to instruct the State Commissioner of Police to issue gun licenses to the public. Meanwhile, chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, that's Governor of Ondo State, Rotimi Akeredolu, commended the boldness of Governor Matawalle for the directive. He said it is a pragmatic approach. And I'm looking at Rotimi Akeredolu is the governor of Ondo State and is a senior advocate of Nigeria. He should understand the law. And Governor Matawalle telling citizens to defend themselves, is it out of frustration? Because the Chief of Defense Staff, General Irabor, is saying that, look, you've just gone beyond your boundary. gone beyond the boundary, that you don't have power over what you've just said.
Anyway, what the governor said, it's like passing a verdict that there is no more government in place, whether in the states or maybe overall as a country. Obviously, the governor does not have that power to order the people to carry arms, because constitutionally, we do not have that in our law books. Nigerians are not allowed to carry arms to defend themselves for now. So,
Our security is solely in the hands
of the
federal government.
As a matter of fact, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces is the only one that even has a right and the power to even pass any directive or order to anyone. Just like the CDS Irabor said, the governor does not have the power to instruct the commissioner of police to license arms to anybody, because it is not within his jurisdiction to do so. However, from what the governor did, we could see that the governor is obviously overwhelmed, and he is probably confused, and he does not know what else to do.
He's not the only governor to have made this call. Governor Bello Masari, at a point in time, asked people to defend themselves. Governor Yotom of Benue State, at a point in time, too. Now, is this like a vote of no confidence? Because what could actually make these guys look at Rotimi Akeredolu from what happened in Owo?
Yeah.
So from his experience in Owo and everything, then I said, look, since government cannot protect you, just try and defend yourself.
I think we have to look at the many sides of this issue. If you take Zamfara State, for instance, we need to understand what is going on there and what may have prompted the governor to speak in that manner. Zamfara State is a very large state with almost about 9 million people, about 39,000 square kilometers, almost the size of the entire southeast Nigeria.
Really?
Yes. Now, what has been going on in Zamfara State?
A lot of ungoverned spaces.
Chilling. In January this year, the whole world woke up to the new year with about 200 people killed in just 3 days. In May this year, 56 people were also killed in Anka. Now, what you are seeing is a situation where the governor is in a desperate situation. I'm not sure whether he needs to apply a desperate solution. In the case of that 200 people that were killed, 500 men came on motorcycles, invaded the community, and if you look at the savage manner they killed these human beings, they mutilated their bodies, threw them away, and then left. So for a governor that wants to develop his people and want to transform the society, he needs to take some drastic action. And don't also forget that Zamfara State is rated as the poorest state in Nigeria, with about 3.8 million people living in extreme poverty. And what that means is that they wake up, there's nothing.
Extreme
From
poverty.
about 825,000 households. So with that kind of level of poverty, you are facing a very difficult situation. But
you are battling poverty on one hand.
On your hand.
On the other hand, you are battling
you don't have money to even deal with. And a lot of people are coming from different parts of the country, coming to that town, cattle rustling, kidnapping, rape. So the governor is frustrated. But then, we have to operate within the prism of law. Though he is the #1 security officer of the state, there is no law that says that you can ask citizens to go and get guns from police. That was what he said. And he said they will issue forms, 500 forms to 19 emirates. If they issue 500 forms to 19 emirates each, let's say each emirate, one person acquire a weapon. That would mean about 9,500 people, citizens being armed, owning guns in Zamfara State. The danger is that those that will own these arms will not be poor people, because it's not easy to access. So the arms will be in the hands of, rich men. Then in terms of command structure, in terms of training, who will train them? People can misuse arms when they are not well trained. You just see some people and then you go. So in a way, we are empowering people. We are empowering.
In Nigeria.
We are empowering people to be law enforcers. We are empowering them to be judges. We are empowering them to take laws into their hands. So if you just see somebody and then you accuse of bandit, then you shoot. Because getting those guns is not just for fun. It's to defend yourself, even when there is no clear evidence that your life is under threat. So I think, in as much as we appreciate the situation in Zamfara State, we need to approach this with some level of caution so that we don't have anarchy on our hands. Imagine, let's say, this order was given by Anambra State Governor or was given by Imo State Governor. Okay, go and get. So how will people feel? So, or even from Ondo State Governor. So, but you see, this thing is also a lesson. And I think what the governor of Ondo State is saying is that he's commending him for bringing into the front burner the issue of federalism. Why, instead of arming people, why not create state police? Because they'll be under command structure, they'll be under some level of training. Before you shoot, you have to take order from some people. Not just when you have a gun in your house and then you can decide to shoot at any time. So I think the governor, in a way, has again raised the issue of federalism, the issue of state police, the issue of the garrison structure of Nigerian security architecture. And I think that is the lesson that we should take from that statement. We need to address this issue of a unitary system that parades itself as a federal institution.
I think in addressing this, we need to reach a conclusion in the sense that even in Ondo State right now, the Amotekun Corps, they want to send another bill to the State House of Assembly legalizing Amotekun to take arms, not take guns right now, because of what they faced. Now, we know that security is like the exclusive right of the federal government.
That actually brings me to a point that CDS Irabor made. He actually said that the governor has not used the instrumentality of the law that is available to him for security and peace. Whatever he meant by that, he said he was not ready.
Don't you think this is just like rhetorics?
It may not be rhetorics.
Your people have been
No, it may not be rhetorics.
down.
Because what it's trying to say is that let's ask ourselves what is available to the governor of Zamfara State. You just mentioned the Amotekun. Can Ondo State House of Assembly legislate for Amotekun to carry arms?
I don't think so.
I think they can.
I don't think so.
I think they can.
They can. In fact, actually, Amotekun carry some level of arms now.
Yes, I think they can.
Even hunters carry guns.
They can.
You can get license. You can get license from police. There was a time the IG said people should return their licensed guns. So in Nigeria, you have the right to acquire guns legitimately.
They've suspended giving people license.
It's not as if you can't even get gun.
Yeah.
You can be licensed to carry a gun even now.
Yeah.
It's just that the call for people to carry guns en masse is what is giving people concern.
Okay, I think they said, but that's what the police allow Amotekun to carry, light arms.
Light arms. Yeah. So if the House of Assembly decides to pass a law that they want them to carry, let's try the law now. Let them pass it. Let the federal government now come and say, okay, you cannot do this. Do you get it? But at least the instrumentality of the law that is available at the state level, I think the governors should test the waters. I think they should test the waters and we can now move forward from that point.
I wanted to tell you earlier that carrying of firearms is under the exclusive list. There's no how the state assembly can legislate on that.
Okay.
So
they cannot legislate
anything that has to do with security.
It has to be from the federal government.
So is it that we amend our constitution?
Okay, in that case, the governors can also.
The exclusive and the.
That is what the governors should be working around now. They should be lobbying the National Assembly to actually remove that from the exclusive list.
Yes.
Not that you just go out and tell your people to carry arms. They should go about it the constitutional way. And now that he is talking, many governors are talking.
Yes.
Then they should just work together.
And this talk, most of the time, you could see the frustration.
They are frustrated.
They're killing your people,
Yes.
killing your people on a daily basis, and you seem not to have a kind of answer.
They are even powerless. Even from the response of the CDS, it's like you as a governor, you are just there to just answer the name of a governor. You don't even have the power to do anything. You can't even control the police. You can't even tell them to do anything. It has to come from Abuja. Must we wait for that? We don't have to wait for that. But at the same time, the governors should just go beyond speaking and threatening. They should go about it the legal way, and let's see what we can achieve.
That's why some people are saying that, look, this current structure is not
working.
It's not working.
Yeah.
That we need to just
it comes to a time that the law you have been using for 50 years will become obsolete in the face of realities that confront you. That's what is happening with Nigeria. We are due for state police. If Zamfara has its own state police, about 15,000 men, we'll not be talking about people going to, to carry arms and all that. There will have been another command structure, well regulated, well disciplined, with intelligence department, with unarmed combat department, and they'll be able to deal with insurgents because there will be people that are indigenous to those communities who know where these people live and who will have intelligence to be able to apprehend them where necessary.
And they will be able to also employ more arms.
Okay, I have Babajide calling from Maryland in the United States of America.
Yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon or good morning to Babajide. How are you there?
Yeah, we are in afternoon now. This is to one. Thank you, Ayo.
To one.
I just want to, I want to contribute to the issue of bearing arms. I think that is where we are going now, and that is what the government should allow. The thing is, we just have to make sure if you go to carry arms, it is licensed. If you are allowed to carry arms, it will create a fear into the people that are, all this bandit of a thing. If an armed robber is coming to my home, they already knew I don't have a arm, I don't have a gun whatsoever. So that gave them a kind of an edge over me. But when you are coming to my home to rob me, or I'm driving, you know that possibly I might have a harm, it's going to show that it's going to reduce all this banditry of a thing. Here in the United States, we are allowed to have arms, but you have to register it. If I use my arm unlawfully, I get arrested and go to jail. Those are the things Nigerians need to do, our government needs to do. If you are not allowed us to carry arms, the banditry will continue. Armed robbery coming to your homes will continue. People, going by their business and getting attacked will continue. But when you know that people that you are going to attack, they have arms, you will think twice. All these military personnel, Irabor himself, if he's not on duty, he carry arms when he's going about, going out, doing whatever he needs to do personally. All these big men.
Thank you for your contribution, Babajide. Okay, I think Babajide is looking at what is happening in the U.S.
Yes.
Now we have the advantage and disadvantage. Do you understand? Yeah. If you go to the supermarket, you see guns across and everything. But the number of people the number of children that will just go on a shooting spree almost on a daily basis.
Even the arms in the hands of non-state actors in Nigeria today is alarming. So we cannot compound it by saying that everybody should have a free reign. We still need to work within the context of institutions and structures. And that's why we're talking
own environment
about,
is quite
state
peculiar.
Police. With the state police, I think that's a way forward to minimize crime and banditry.
What do you think is, I've been hearing of this state police not 5-10 years, but I don't know. We've been talking about it, it's been suggested, but it seems that this call is just coming from a segment of the country. Exactly. It's not been accepted across, but that means there's something wrong with it.
I think there are fears in some cultures that state police will empower some states and that diminish some structures that are not even working now. And that is the reason why I think these governors that are complaining now should rather make case for a state police instead of just going about complaining. Because what stops us from having a state police is as good as, okay, it has been legislated. Now states can have their own police outfits. and they will recruit, they will pay, and all of these things will be solved. But I guess some people are thinking that some governors may get more powerful and they may use it against the opposition. They may do this, they may do that. You know, those are some of the fears. But we cannot continue to live in fear and allow people to be dying en masse.
All right, and finally, there's still much to understand regarding the organ harvest saga involving the former Senate Deputy President Ekweremadu and his family. The Nigerian Immigration Service affirmed that David Wanimi, who was alleged to have been trafficked to the United Kingdom for organ harvest by Senator Ekweremadu and wife Beatrice, is 21 years old and not 15, as claimed by him. Also, a forensic psychologist, Dr. Law Mefo, described Wanimi as a serial liar who should not be taken seriously. He said all the information coming out, including the international passport issued on the 4th of November 2021, his bank verification number, BVN, done on the 31st of October 2019, his national identity number, NIN, done on the 15th of June 2021, point to the fact that he was born on the 12th of October 2000, therefore 21 years old. At least in terms of this data and everything, we might not have synchronized it, but we are getting something right.
Yes.
So you cannot, just keep us to speed on this saga.
I think this is a very complex issue, and we need to look at it deeply. A lot of people have gone to social media to write so many things. Some attacking the Ekweremadu, accusing him of organ harvesting and all sort of things. But we need to be patient and look at the whole sides. First of all, we need to know that kidney problem is a major problem in Nigeria. We have about 25 million people that have one kidney problem or the other, and then about 180,000 Nigerians go through dialysis, every month. And then we understand to go through kidney dialysis, you need about 400,000 naira in a month. So for a parent that their daughter is having kidney problem, you are in a confused state. You want to make sure you resolve that problem, and for them to have traveled to UK to look for a solution, it is normal for any parent that is in that kind of situation. Now, on the issue of our little man, donating organ is legitimate if it's for humanitarian purpose. A lot of people do it. When people are looking for kidney, you donate your kidney to save human life. It is done all over the world.
It has been commercialized now.
Now, unfortunately, in Nigeria, people out of desperation, I wouldn't even say out of poverty, because even there must be some level of poverty that there are certain things you should not do. We know that every human being has 2 kidneys, and you can sustain yourself with only one. But people go as far as selling one kidney for $10,000, for $15,000. It has been going on for a very long time.
Does it look like a 15-year-old boy?
At all. Well. So, see, I believe before the family traveled to UK, you cannot do kidney transplant without confirming whether the kidney rhymes, whether it's,
Yes.
So they must have done that. They must have done that, and that must have been with consent of the boy. You understand the point? And now that the immigration is saying that he got a passport, and in that passport is 22 years old, not 15. So it means that if you have 21, you are an adult. You can take decision based out of your own free will. So, but I think it's now, when it go to UK, it's now saying that it's 15 and all that. So it's a bit complex. But if he's truly 21 years old, then he can take decision to say, okay, I want to donate my organ to save human life. So probably maybe he's trying to exploit the family. It's not clear, but I think in days ahead, we'll be able to get
this case.
Well, for me, what I think I appreciate in this case is the fact that Nigeria's data collection system has improved tremendously. And that is why we can be talking about NIMC, we can be talking about BVN and all of that, which must, match
information.
Yes, the information. So I think that will go a long way in helping to resolve this matter. And I was not also surprised that the Ekweremadus quickly sued NIMC, and the two banks that that this guy is using as where he has his accounts, because there are two banks that are also sued where he claims to have accounts, because all these people have information about him. They also sue the passport, the immigration, because the immigration also has information, because the immigration now, you cannot collect a passport without linking it to
your NIN.
Your NIN. So if immigration could put the date of birth that it puts on its passport, it means that immigration must have linked it with the NIN, and it means that that information must be true to them. So as far as the Ekweremadus are concerned, they are only acting based on the information that is available to them. And however, I wouldn't also want a situation where anybody should come out now to say somebody is a pathetic liar or a consistent liar. No, let the court do its work and let's know what is going on. But at least it is good that we have data better than what we used to have.
We have Kesandu calling us from Owerri.
Mr. Ayo, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Kesandu.
Yes. You see, first, I want to say that the truth about it is that whoever that advised that young man to actually take the decision he has taken, advised him wrongly. That is one step. I think the picture we're even seeing clearly shows that that guy is not a minor. And documents that are available to us are now verifying it. It is quite unfortunate that this thing is happening to him. But I'm sure the judges over there will do justice to it. But I also want us to take a moral lesson out of this. The likes of Ekweremadu and his class, if they had done something right since 1999, probably get us this kind of centers in the country, all over the country. Probably this embarrassment is facing outside the shores of this country, he wouldn't have faced them. This is the clear lesson. I think this is karma coming now that our leaders, things we're supposed to do. COVID came here and none of them could leave the shores of this country. Can we start investing in Nigeria? If we had done it in Nigeria, probably taking this boy to Lagos, Calabar, Owerri, Enugu, or anywhere. This kind of international embarrassment shouldn't have come to his family. I think that is the only thing. But when it comes to what this young man is doing or how he has taken this whole thing, I do not support it. But hopefully, justice must prevail. But leaders must learn to do the right thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your contribution, Kesandu. You know that because by the 7th of July, there's a kind of an hearing on this case. But the bottom line there is that we can't start blaming anybody.
Yeah.
Till we heard the verdicts and
process of
it is not our emotions that they will use to run the case. It's based on evidence on ground. That if the British government, if they find out that, look, yes, the guy was made, he was promised some monetary compensation, that could be very dangerous to Senator Ekweremadu.
Quite, it's going to be very dangerous. And we have seen clearly that the way the legal system works in UK, probably is different from here. There's rule of law. Nobody is above the law. Nobody wants to know whether you are this or that. You'll be treated equally the way every other person will be treated. And it also shows that when a system is bad, whether you are rich or you are poor, you are going to be victims. If you have had very good health system in Nigeria, very good social system, this question of people going abroad for one kind of thing or the other will not even arise.
But I gather that this kidney transplant, that it has been going on, as in, it's something that can be done in Nigeria, that is done in Lagos, is done in Abuja.
St. Nicholas.
Yes, they do it in some other private hospitals.
There are very few hospitals.
I think they've been doing it for almost 20 years.
I think we have just about 180 nephrologists, who are specialists all over the country. So, and it's expensive, and most people have trust in the medical system of Europe more than they have in our own system. So it's a lesson that we need to let things work here so that when things work, people will not have the reason to be going abroad for every little illness, either major illness or minor illness. We need to let our medical system work here for the benefit of the rich and the poor.
And then when you now think of the number of Nigerian doctors and nurses and medical personnel that are going out now, you can imagine what the implication will be for us in the nearest future. Because these are the experts that should be able to even take care of the medical needs of Nigerians. But because things are not working here, they are moving to where things are working. And at the end of the day, even the rich can become victims, as we have seen in this case. Even though I don't want to single out any Ekweremadu and say that if he has done anything, he's not the only one that's been in government since 1990, and it's not as if he was a governor or the president or anything like that. We are just talking to the ruling class and not singling out anybody. And the need for us to make things, to make things work in our own system, so that we don't go looking for, because don't let's even go there. As it is now, that case, as it is now, it is that kid, that person that is regarded as a kid, as far as UK is concerned, against Ekweremadu. That is already the line of argument, if you follow what they are saying in court. Because that guy is considered as an underage. Whatever he tells them, and you know their own system, it doesn't matter where you are born. Once you are a kid, you are a kid. Do you know that even if you travel to the UK or the US and you are an illegal immigrant and your child is a kid, he will still enjoy all the benefits that children in their countries enjoy, regardless of your own status as the parent. So they make the law to work for everybody, whether poor or rich. And let's see how this goes, really.
Senator Ekweremadu has gone to court to sue some of these agencies in Nigeria and banks. To what extent?
Well, that's the Nigerian legal system again. We come to that again. How long will it take for him to get judgment? You know, but I think he should be more focused on what is going to happen at the British court. He should get his facts right and present it in the most honest manner, because the British court is not like third world courts where you can manipulate things. You just need to get all the facts right. Whether this fellow is underage, whether he's doing it for financial gains, or whether it was, you know, a kind of coercion, you know, that was coerced to take the action that he may have taken. So I think he needs to get good lawyers to defend himself, you know, and we are waiting to see what comes out of it.
I think the penalty is life imprisonment?
No, 10 years. 10 years imprisonment. But I think it's going to court in Nigeria is just to establish the age of this person. All he just wanted to do was to establish the age.
That's a big factor there now.
That is a big factor, yes.
Okay. I want to thank you, Wale Adeoye and Olabisi Deji Fodutule, for your contribution today and that our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. Join us every Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Zubako. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.